What's up guys, Commonwealth Snow here, and today I have another Linux distribution kind of review and install. So today I'm going to be installing Zorin OS, which, according to the website, is the alternative to Windows and the macOS designed to make your computer faster, more powerful, secure and privacy respecting. Now, from what I've heard from people on the internet, this is very much the Linux alternative to Windows and the macOS. So this operating system allows you to choose from a variety of different desktop environments to kind of make itself more suited towards the Windows or macOS users that haven't branched out to using any other types of software. So this would appeal to your Windows hardcore users that have maybe getting a bit too annoyed at Bill Gates for his enthusiasm about Windows 11. But they're unable to upgrade to Windows 11 because they're running a Dell Optiplex 780. So we can actually scroll down this very nice looking website here and see what they're on about. Now, this is a very modern looking website. You can tell this is very much geared towards those types of people that are maybe a bit scared about those older looking websites that many other distributions have. So this is a very, very modern, slick feel. Kind of reminds me of the Apple website. So, they're just talking about how apps will open faster and how you can revive old computers and, stuff like that. So, it is based on Ubuntu, so it's an Ubuntu-based distribution. So, that means you'll be able to get access to the Ubuntu-based repository, be able to use .deb files. You'll have access to all the Ubuntu documentation. So, very, very much geared towards the Linux beginner. So, let's install it in a virtual machine. I'm going to go here, click on New. I think you know the drill by now. I'm going to call this one Zorin OS, and we shall select Ubuntu, as that's the closest it is to 4096 megabytes of RAM. Yep, dynamically allocated. We're not too bothered about speed right now. We're going to give this bad boy 20 gigs. Should be plenty. Now, I haven't installed this operating system before, but from what I've heard about it, it seems to be alright. So this is going to be very much a first impressions. I'll be giving you a bit of information on the side as well. I do have the website open on my laptop. We'll give this 2 cores, that should be plenty. 120 megs of video memory, and VBox VGA. Click on storage, empty, and we want to select our ISO. Which is right there. Click on OK, and we shall start the system. Okay, now on this little boot menu we have here, it seems to give us 4 options. Try or install Zorin OS, install Zorin OS safe graphics, and modern NVIDIA drivers. Okay, so I'm assuming the Zorin OS won't preload any drivers for one side or the other for AMD or NVIDIA or something like that. It's just going to be a blank slate, whereas maybe safe graphics are more of the open source variety, maybe, or maybe like base drivers. Modern NVIDIA drivers, going to load up some NVIDIA drivers for your graphics card. So I don't know, I think this is very much a beginner friendly way of introducing NVIDIA drivers to the user, because I think as you get to use Linux, you understand more and more how NVIDIA are quite stuck up about providing their drivers and the tools to use them on Linux. So yes, not too bad. I think I'm just going to go with a try or install Zorin OS at the top. Yeah, let's do that. See how that goes. Okay, so this is a very different kind of loading screen we have here compared to other Linux distributions I've installed. This is very much a kind of Windows like 7S kind of setup, maybe. Nice logo flash in there. Ooh, very animated. Yeah, I think they've definitely put the time and effort into making this boot sequence a bit more friendly, I think. There we go, get nice and full screen there. Anyway, I think what we've got now is a kind of, I think this is a GNOME-based desktop environment, I think. It seems to be a bit more modified, though, than base GNOME. We don't have the toolbar on the left side. Yeah, no, this is definitely GNOME-based. Got the calendar, the date and time on top. And the little menu around here. It did take a little bit for that install screen to come up. It must have taken about a minute. But yeah, we're here now. Very sleek looking. This is a different looking install to the other Linux distributions I've used that come with it, with a GUI installer. If you know what I mean, kind of the Linux Mint, the Red Core Linux distribution. They all come with kind of the same looking installs. This one's a bit more suited up. Looks quite nice. Language on the left side here, English. We are going to install Zorin OS. I'm going to select English UK here. Leave it on there. Touch keyboard there. Click continue. Okay, so we get a few different options here. We can download updates while installing Zorin OS. So I'm assuming this is just going to do this is just going to do it straight after it installs. So yeah, saves time after installation. We also get the option to install third-party software. So I'm assuming this is going to be like the option Linux Mint has, where it kind of gives you the option to install multimedia codecs and that kind of stuff. So this would be very useful if you had if you had a graphics card in here, you had perhaps a sound card or something like that, so it can detect what kind of drivers you need and install them. So that's quite nice. But it does say here the census lets the Zorin OS developers count the number of users anonymously. So if that's all it is, just counting the number of users, then obviously you don't really have anything to worry about. And to add on top of that, this whole operating system is of course open source and anybody can view the source code. So I don't think there's anything to worry about here. We'll just click on continue. Alright, here we get the option to erase a disk and install Zorin OS. So obviously, if you're trying to dual boot this system and you already have something on your drive that you don't want to wipe, you can obviously resize the partition and put your own partition in and choose how much of the disk you want to use up. But in this case, since we're using a virtual machine, we're just going to erase the disk and install Zorin OS. Yeah, we're going to click continue. Not too bothered about it. Select your time zone. And here you get to set up your username, your account name, your password, stuff like that. So I'm just going to type in here. Enter a very, very secure password. Yeah, we're going to use that there. Use Active Directory. You'll enter domain. Okay, so this is they're entering your domain and stuff like that. This is actually what you need to do on the Arch Linux install. I don't really understand what it does though. I'll have to figure that one out. But obviously, if you know what that does, then I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out quite easily enough. This install is very nice, by the way. Very, very sleek, very professional. It's got a very professional look to it. You can tell they've put a lot of time into this setup. Alright, the installation's complete. That did take a little while. It must have taken about, maybe, 6-7 minutes, something like that. It wasn't too long. But, that's to be expected. We are installing a bunch of those extra packages and drivers and stuff like that. So, yeah, we'll just restart now. And should be good. Should be good to go. So if you were installing this on Metal, you would obviously remove your USB now, but since I'm installing mine in a virtual machine and made the hard disk the first option in the boot options. Since I made the hard drive the first in the boot selection, I can just press enter and we'll boot straight into it. So we get that same very jazzy boot screen. Very normie friendly, I think. Props to them for that, I should say. And here we go. Let's Control F this. There we go. Alright, so you can select your user here, that comes up, and enter your very secure password. Wait for it to boot up. And there we go, we are in. Alright, welcome to Zorin OS 16. Like I say, this is... oh, bit of tunes, huh? Like I said, this is a very, very professional introduction to the operating system. I don't know of any other Linux distribution that does this. This is very professional, very, I want to say very macOS looking. I mean, I have to admit, I've never used macOS, but, you know, these rounded corners, the colours, the very vibrant colours, the vibrant wallpaper. It's very, very macOS reminiscent. Or Windows 11, I suppose. Windows 11 now has rounded corners. So you do get the option to start a tour. Okay, so it tells us the basic information of the system. It appears. Open the menu to launch apps. Yeah, like a nice little start menu, I suppose you could say. You can choose your desktop look with Zorin Appearance. Alright, so let's launch Zorin Appearance and see what it gives us the options to change. So I'm assuming all of these are based on the GNOME desktop, and they're just changing the look of it. Down here we do get the option to get more desktop layouts if we upgrade to Zorin OS Pro. Now I think this is one of the main drawbacks of this operating system, is they do give you two different versions. You get the Zorin OS and you get Zorin OS Pro. Now Zorin OS Pro, to my knowledge, is the version you have to pay for. And in return for paying for the operating system, you do get you get extra applications, you get extra options, and according to this, you get more desktop layouts to choose from. Now that's up to you if you think that's worth it or not. But for me personally, paying for software in the first place, I've never really been a fan of. But you do have that option. We also have themes here, so we can change the colours and the background. Interface, so you just get a few jelly mode. So we get, you can toggle icons on the desktop and the, different icons and stuff like that. And you can also change the font straight from this appearance setting, so that's quite useful. But we'll go next. Speed up your virtual machine. Uh-oh, they've detected we're using a virtual machine. But we do have the option to install guest editions for VirtualBox, which, like it says, it will improve performance. I'm not going to bother right now. This is just going to be a quick overview and introduction, but you do have the option if you're thinking of experimenting with this long term in a virtual machine, which is quite nice. You also get the option to connect your online accounts. We won't be doing that. And you also get to link your phone and computer with Zorin Zorin Connect. I think this is quite reminiscent of KDE Connect. I think that's what it's called, where you can kind of sync your devices together. Your laptop, desktop, and phone. Click on next here. Also comes with its own GUI software manager, which I think is very, very important for a beginner Linux distribution, especially for this Linux distribution, where it's very much aimed at people who are moving from having everything fed for them or having to go through different websites to try and find their download. Windows and Mac, obviously. macOS has the App Store and Windows has the Windows. Who even uses the Windows Store? Does anyone seriously use that? I can't imagine anybody does. You also get the option between LibreOffice and OnlyOffice, which I think is quite interesting. LibreOffice has come pre-installed. I'm assuming that's because we decided to install extra packages in the installation, but here you still do get the option, so that's very nice. And that's it. So I think options are very important for beginner Linux users, but not too many options, and I think this introduction bar here, this introduction panel, does a very good job at not overwhelming the user with too many options. It's very much a this or that, but also beware, you can also have other options. I think it gives you that freedom, but also that guidance as well, while not being too stringent, which I think is very important for a Linux distribution such as this. You have to be as normie friendly and as professional as you can, and I think this is a good job of it. So we'll close that. We have some updates. As you can expect when downloading an ISO, you're of course going to have a few updates you're going to need to install, so we'll install them now. See how that works. I'm going to have to enter your password, of course, which I think is standard for most Linux distributions unless you change it. Just an extra layer of security. You don't want to be running as root all the time. But yeah, alright, so while that's updating, we can have a look at different bits of software that have come pre-installed with this system. Alright, so in accessories we have a text editor here. Let's see what text editor it is. This is a gedit, I believe. Click on here, yeah, here it is, gedit. Okay, so very, like it says here, lightweight text editor, works fine. This also comes pre-installed with, I think it just comes pre-installed with all known desktop environments. So, you know, if you're downloading Tails or Ubuntu, stuff like that, it just comes de facto, which is very nice. Also got some games on here. Mines, I'm assuming that's Minesweeper, Sudoku, Quadrapuzzle. Not going to say that. And Isle Riot Solitaire. Mines. Let's see. Shall we have a game of Mines really quickly? Yeah, alright. We'll just ignore that. Let's go to graphics down here. Okay, so it does come in. It comes pre-installed with GIMP, which is alright. Image viewer, LibreOffice Draw, and photos. Alright, so just very basic bits of software to get you started. I think that's quite nice. Not too overbearing. There's not too many different things. Internet, we have Firefox. Let's actually see what they've done with Firefox, if they've customized it in any way. I know Linux Mint shoves a bunch of different bookmarks on there. But wow, okay. So this is the start page for Zorin. Enter on that. Wow, okay. So, alright, it uses Google as the de facto search engine, so, you know, that's to be expected. Nothing too surprising there. And then when you go onto a new tab, it obviously just puts you on the default Firefox new tab. Let's see what version we're on. Going to help about Firefox. Alright, version 94. That's not too. I think that is actually up to date. I think, unless the updates say anything differently, I'm not too sure. But yeah, all right. So this is pretty up to date. It's not out of date at all, which is pretty nice. Very interesting start page though. Let's just check that again. Now, as I did when setting up this virtual machine, I have only assigned it 4 GB of RAM and 2 physical cores. So your mileage is definitely going to vary in terms of how fast it's going to be. But if you're running like a mid-range system, you know, you've got 8 gigs of RAM, or you've got a low to mid-range processor that the operating system will be taking full advantage of, it will run just as good as this or even faster. I think this is quite a lightweight system. It is running GNOME, which is known to be quite a bit more of a heavy desktop environment than compared to, let's say, XFCE or something like that. But it's not too bad. You know, at least it's not running KDE Plasma. Alright, so if we click on Office here, we have the LibreOffice suite down here, Evolution, which appears to be an email client, a contacts application. This also comes pre-installed with then a GNOME desktop environment, just manage contacts, and also calendar. So pretty self-explanatory there. Sound and video, we have a couple things here. We have a videos application here, sound recorder, rhythm box, which is, as it says here, play and organize your music collection. I think this also comes with Linux Mint if you install the extra media codecs, or maybe even comes pre-installed on that, but you know, very basic, just managing music, stuff like that. Pitav, I'm not too sure what that is. It appears to be a maybe like a video editor, something like that. Yeah, okay, so it's a very basic video editor. Alright, I can get behind that. It's kind of like, what's it called? Windows Movie Maker. You remember that? Anyone remember that? Windows Movie Maker? Yeah, that's what I spent my breaks at school doing. Alright, so we click on here, on the System Tools tab here. We have quite a few different options. Obviously we have a main menu tab here, so we can add or remove applications from the main menu. We have power statistics, so if you're on a laptop you can see your battery level and how much battery you have remaining and roughly how long it's going to last on the usage. We also have a disks GUI. It's kind of a GUI way to represent your disks. You can think of this as the kind of partition manager that Windows has. Partition and disk manager, I think, something like that. You know, it's quite nice and simple. I've also noticed just how similar everything looks, and I know these are just because of the base software that's come pre-installed with this operating system, but everything does look very similar. It's very much in that bubble of influence of Zorin OS and the very simplistic design, very professional, which I think is, like I've said before, very important for beginner users. You know, you don't want to scare them off with too many different options or too many different menus, different kinds of menus and different ways to navigate through them. You want everything to be the same. You want everything to be very upfront to the user. You want everything to be very obvious, big buttons, rounded corners. Click on the settings menu here. But yeah, this is just the default GNOME settings tab with a bit of that Zorin influence here. You've got the rounded corners, the black and white colouring. So you get options to pretty much all the settings you'd need through here anyway, but down the start menu here they do give you the option to go to their own kind of applications here. So startup applications, also the tour. So if you want to go back to that tour, let's say you're missing out on a menu, not too sure where something is, you can just go here, click on tour, and it will bring you back to that original panel that starts at the beginning. And now if we navigate down to utilities, it pretty much comes up with all the rest of the programs that come pre-installed on the system. So we have a backups manager, archive manager, so that can thing that we can use to extract .zip files, stuff like that. Base calculator, characters, so you can find some like emojis and stuff like that to input if you're trying to write a message or trying to type up something on the web. Disk usage analyzer, it's just kind of a GUI way to show how much your disk space. Document scanner, pretty self-explanatory stuff really. The passwords and keys, I think this is a password manager that comes pre-installed with the system, so that's quite nice. A screenshot manager, a screenshot application, so you can screenshot your window, who'd have thought. A system monitor, not too sure. Oh, okay, yeah, so I think this comes with GNOME as well. I think this is a GNOME task manager. We are, as you can see here, we're using 1.5 gigabytes of RAM just on the desktop, so it is quite a more heavy distro, I'd say, than most. Obviously that is partly because of the GNOME desktop environment we're running, and also partly because we have just installed the system, so they may be installing some updates or something like that. And finally we have the terminal at the bottom, so we can go into the terminal and see what kind of settings we have here. So nothing too much. White background, black font. Me personally, I prefer that the other way around, with white font on a black background, but I think they're very much going with a white theme, and if you do recollect, we do have the option to change the theming through the tour panel that we saw at the beginning. So why don't we test out a few commands? Let's see if it comes with a no, okay, it doesn't come with Vim, although that is to be expected, as this is a beginner distribution. It does come with VI though, so we'll accept it. VI is just fine. What about HTOP? Does this system come with HTOP? It doesn't come with HTOP, but I'm assuming most beginner Linux users will probably be using the GUI task manager that comes provided with this operating system, so not too bad. What about a NeoFetch? Does this come with a NeoFetch? It doesn't. We'll install NeoFetch, why not? It's the first thing you got to do when you install a new Linux system, of course. So we can type in NeoFetch here and get a quick NeoFetch. So as you can see, this comes with 1867 packages. But yeah, desktop environment is GNOME, of course. We have kernel version 5.11, which I don't think's too out of date. I don't think it's too bad. You can actually see what kernel version you want to see your systems running without typing in NeoFetch, and you can simply type in the command uname --r and it will come up with the kernel version there. So if you want to know what kernel version in your desktop environment, you can obviously just type in that command. Sorry, your main system, not desktop environment. So if we navigate down over here to this panel at the bottom, we also have this software icon here. So it gives us a nice little introduction. Let's go shopping. Yeah, this is just kind of like a GUI package manager, so it comes with the games and software that it recommends to users. We have the Minecraft installer here. I'm pretty sure the Minecraft installer that comes with the Ubuntu repository is quite out of date, and I don't think it works. I mean, it might be different here. I would recommend to just install the installer from the Minecraft website themselves, as they have an official install there, so there's nothing to worry about there. But you do have access to other things like Shotcut and MPV, very popular. MPV is a very popular, very minimal video playback utility, and Shotcut is a very useful and open source video editor. It's actually the one I use, so not too bad. You also get access to GIMP, VLC, Opera, Thunderbird, as opposed to the Evolution email client that comes pre-installed with Zorin. So yeah, not too bad. Nothing you wouldn't expect, of course. Get access to all the different packages you have installed on your system, so pretty nice. Also get access to updates. Make sure you got all your updates installed, or any updates that are pending. Overall, not too bad. Let's have a look in the File Explorer down here. As you can see, it's just the normal GNOME File Explorer. We can actually go in About Files. It's just called Files. Very simple, straight to the point, nothing too fancy. Everything just works, and I think that's what this distribution is about. Is it just works? There's no extensive setup that the user has to go through. Everything just works. And that's very important for trying to get somebody who's used to things just working on Windows or the macOS to use Linux, is that it just needs to work. And I think this is a very good example of that. Everything so far seems to just work fine. If somebody was wanting to move over from Windows to a Linux-based distribution, I would recommend this operating system. So far, it's just been flawless. Everything's very nicely presented, nothing's broken. It's quite fluid as well, especially for the amount of power I've given it. I've only given it 2 cores and only 4 GB of RAM. It seems to work flawlessly, and very quickly too. So, I'm thoroughly surprised. I am surprised by how well this runs, especially considering it's using the GNOME desktop environment, which, isn't known to be the less power hungry of the lot. It's kind of mid to high range in terms of power usage. I did see a maps on the installed application, so I just want to see what that kind of looks like. If it's a Google Maps or something. Wow, this looks quite nice. Wow, what is this? A map application for GNOME. Oh, this is very nice. Very nice. I didn't realise this was its own application. I would have thought this would have just been a shortcut to, something like Google Maps or something. One day, Canada. One day I'll be there, I promise. Or setting up a nice log cabin next to the Great Slave Lake or the Great Bear Lake. Just, I don't know, is that too unrealistic? Maybe buying a nice house in Prince George in British Columbia. Is that too much to ask? Anyway, we're getting a bit off track. But yeah, that's about it for this video. It's just a quick overview of Zorin and what to expect when you first boot up and what kind of programs come pre-installed with it. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this. This is a very, very nice operating system. If you did enjoy it, maybe even like the video, comment that you did, and subscribe. We do a couple stuff like this. I've got a couple videos coming on in the future, so thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon.